things that will matter, and a daily pack rip. Here is your host, Kyle Elfrink.
Welcome in on a Wednesday morning / afternoon. I guess for those out east, we welcome you to the afternoon. This is the 5-Pack right here on the Better Sports Network. Each and every day, I, Kyle Elfrink, sit here and have a little fun. We give you the rundown of 5 things that you might have missed from last night, but you do need to care about them. And we also get you set for the night to come with 5 things that will matter. And of course, at the end of the show, we will have our daily pack rip. Now, yesterday, what do we have? 1990 Donruss, and we got like this card. Cool card. Bo Jackson Diamond Kings. Today, I can promise you none of that. In fact, today, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. You know, when we have 1990 Donruss or 1992 Top Stadium Club, I got a lot I can talk about. Today, we will put my talents to the challenge because today, I don't know anything about this set, like very little about this set. Do you? Line Drive AAA baseball cards from 1991. They're all minor leaguers. We may get, when we got 12 trading cards in here, we may get 12 guys who never made a major league roster. I don't know. There are supposedly 650 cards in this Line Drive set. And I think there was, this is the AAA set, so guys who were on the verge of making the major leagues, but there was also a AA set, which I don't know. Maybe nowadays they put together something similar. I would suspect with the high energy search that people go for rookie cards, that probably somebody out there is making minor league baseball sets. But we'll turn back the clock and see who we get coming up in just a few. Do want to let everybody know that today is National Idaho Day. So if you know anybody in Idaho, or you live there, celebrate. Today is a day to party it up. Now, it got me thinking, since we are the 5-Pack, because I wouldn't know the answer, at least off the top of my head. Got me thinking. 5 best athletes of all time from the state of Idaho. Who would that be? So I looked it up. I went to this thing called Google. If you've never used it, you should use Google. And I looked up best athletes of all time from Idaho. I will tell you this, finding 5 is kind of difficult. I don't blame myself for not knowing the top 5. Number 1's pretty easy. Harmon Killebrew, who I didn't know this, when Harmon Killebrew retired in like 74, 75, he was actually number 2 on baseball's all-time home run list, Harmon Killebrew. One guy who had more home runs was Babe Ruth. So Harmon Killebrew's number 1. Turns out that Peekaboo Street, the Olympic downhill skier, is number 2. You might make an argument for jockey Gary Stevens as number 3. Vern Law, who was a pitcher, pretty good pitcher in the 60s for the Pirates. He's from Idaho. Larry Wilson, Hall of Fame free safety. He's from Idaho. Jake Plummer is from Idaho, but that's like it. That's the list. So, dare I say, if you're born in Idaho, the deck is stacked against you to become like an all-time great athlete. I don't know if that's the worst state. It's probably not the worst state. I don't know who'd be. Maybe Wyoming. We'll have to wait for National Wyoming Day to give you those top 5 athletes from Wyoming. But we do know this: Harmon Killebrew, native of Idaho, he's number 1 with a bullet. So again, National Idaho Day. Do indeed celebrate. Okay, let's get into our 5 things that matter today on May the 17th. And we start with something we previewed yesterday. We said, hey, tune in at 8 o'clock to ESPN. We're going to find out who gets Victor Wembanyama. Everybody wants Victor Wembanyama. Everybody was losing and losing and losing in order to get that number 1 pick. Last night, we found out who does receive the number 1 pick.
The 4th pick in the NBA draft goes to the Houston Rockets. The 3rd pick belongs to the Portland Trailblazers. The 2nd pick will be made by the Charlotte Hornets. And that means that the #1 pick in the 2023 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs.
Ah, the excitement of opening up an envelope. Don't you just love that music that ESPN gave us there? It sounded like the Biggest Loser almost there. But of course, they're the biggest winner. The Spurs will get the #1 pick. Now, they were one of 3 teams that had a 14% chance of getting the #1 pick. I feel bad for you, Detroit. You had a 14% chance, just like the Spurs. Houston had a 14% chance. We saw Houston got the #4 pick. Detroit got the 5th pick, which I think by rule is as far as they could fall. So Wembanyama is going to be a Spur. Like, that's automatic. The odds for him to go #1 right now are plus 2,000. Or no, excuse me, minus 2,000. It's like automatic at minus 2,000. I don't even know if they'll keep those odds up, say a month from now. He's been the #1 pick for like 24 months, I think. But anyway, the Spurs get him. Exciting times. And check it out. Does that constitute a traffic jam in San Antonio? They're excited. Wembanyama is exciting. The dude is 7'4". I talked about this a bit yesterday. He's 19 years old. Yes, he could use a few pounds, but so did Giannis when he got the league. Dirk Nowitzki, he needed a few pounds. You get to work with a 7'4" dude who can do it from the outside inside. Now, I was saying, well, maybe I can find like a highlight reel of Wembanyama highlights. They're all very long. They're like 20 minutes. There's like game highlights. And really, I didn't want Heather, our producer, to have to edit all that. So what I settled upon is I found one distinct highlight. I think this game was being covered on NBA television. So you'll hear some, analysts and analysis, I should say, in the background here. But I want you to watch this video because when you're 7'4" and you can do this, which is jack up a 3, follow your shot, and throw it down on the rebound, you're pretty special. Take a look at this highlight of Victor Wembanyama.
Once they get used to the physicality of the game, they're able to do certain things. As you see him right there, on the rock with his step back, his skill set is wow. See what I mean? That's just amazing.
Yeah, I see what you mean. He knew that the shot was short. He followed it up and threw it down one-handed, all in one motion. Pretty impressive. Spurs do have a French connection. Tony Parker, the old point guard, he was a French national. So now they'll get another French guy again. In 87, they got David Robinson. So the Spurs have had some fun with the NBA draft lottery. I was looking at that Robinson thing. I had forgotten this. Maybe you have too. David Robinson was the #1 pick of the San Antonio Spurs in 87. They made him the #1 pick, even though they knew that they would not have him for 3 seasons because he had to serve his Navy military service. So he was the #1 pick in, June of 87. He didn't play in the 87-88 season. He was serving in the military. Didn't play in the 88-89 season, serving in the Navy. And then came on board in, 89-90. Won the Rookie of the Year, NBA Hall of Famer. He was great. But they drafted him knowing that he would have naval duty for the first couple of years. But it worked out, so they'll do it again. By the way, mention Wembanyama, minus 2,000 to go #1. Scoot Henderson, he's got a great name and really good game. He is expected to be the #2 pick. So Charlotte would have that selection. He is currently listed at minus 140 to go as the 2nd pick of the NBA draft. It's going to be at the middle of next month, I think it is, right after the NBA Finals. They will have that NBA draft. Let's move to our second item on the board. Speaking of European NBA superstars, did somebody say Nikola Jokic? I think we did. Last night, Game 1, Western Conference Finals between the Nuggets and the Lakers. Let's just sit back and enjoy watching a huge triple-double performance by Nikola Jokic.
Conference Finals. He has been just superb for the Nuggets this year. Davis misses, Jokic the rebound. Jokic, nice feed to Gordon, and the finish. Not as much of a factor against Golden State, and they'll need him here in the conference final. Jokic spins, finds Caldwell Pope cutting.
Until you're able to catch your second win, but it's not a fluke.
Jokic goes inside, lays it up and in. Now, when you played here, did you notice the difference when the opponent came in? Caldwell Pope to Jokic. A quick spin move inside for the dunk. Porter 10 points and 8 rebounds, has played well. Jokic drives down the lane and banks it in. What a touch he has. Jokic, oh, what a pass again! And Caldwell Pope lays it up and in. Such precision. Murray, Jokic takes his time, spins, looking, falling away. It's good. 38 points here in the third quarter. They've cut it to 11. Jokic just gets it off in time. It's up. Oh, it's good! Of course it goes in! Jokic from downtown! Anthony Davis just stares at
him. Fun times. There are triple doubles, and then there are Nikola Jokic triple doubles. Last night in that win over the Lakers, 34 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists. Massive. Absolute. A 30-20-10 triple-double. I believe he's now the only NBA player in the history of the playoffs to have 2 triple-doubles of 30 or more points, 20 or more rebounds, and 10 or more assists. So that's what we saw there. Now, you might notice the highlights ended at the third quarter, and the Nuggets in this game pretty well controlled things, but the Lakers made it a game late. Nuggets, though, putting it away in the end. Well, maybe we don't have that highlight, so we'll pass on that highlight.
Side, shot in and out. Davis, tip won't go. Rebound knocked loose, still loose. Porter dives on it. Davis dives on him. Side, shot in and out. Davis, tip won't go. Rebound knocked loose, still loose. Porter dives on it. Davis dives on him. And Caldwell Pope comes out of the pack. Here comes Murray. Alley-oop to Gordon. Oh, what a play! A broken play turns into a dunk down the other end.
Was that Russell Wilson smiling? Russell Wilson smiles? What? 132-126, the victory for the Nuggets. Lakers, 40 points, 10 rebounds. LeBron James ended up 1 assist shy of a triple-double. He was 26, 12, and 9. Game 2 is going to be on Thursday night. Game 1's a fun one. I mean, the Stars, they were out there. They were playing a star-level game. But game 1 going to the Nuggets. Game 2 I mentioned on Thursday night, 8:30 on ESPN. Denver installed as a 5.5-point favorite for that game. Audio, video, all courtesy of ESPN there. Let's move to our third item that matters. We go to the world of baseball. And let's see, on the 5-pack, we've talked about Aaron Judge, about Freddie Freeman, Clayton Kershaw, and Juan Soto, and the superstar Shohei Ohtani, all these guys. We've talked about all of them. A guy we have not talked about, I'm going to talk about today because he did it again last night. Who am I talking about? What did he do? The man I'm talking about is a relief pitcher with the Baltimore Orioles. I kid you not. And he's not the closer, but he is throwing up 0 after 0 after 0. If you don't know the story or you don't know the name, let's introduce you to Yennier Cano.
7-3, trying to get their first win in 3 games, and they will turn to the best reliever in baseball.
Yennier Cano making his 16th appearance. 19 2/3, has not allowed a run.
Most consecutive appearances without allowing a run or a walk to begin a season since 1901. He surpassed Eck, Moe, and Trevor. And a ground ball to shortstop. Mateo sucks it up. Mateo goes to first, and the Orioles win it. 7-3 your final.
Yennier Cano closes it out. Let me run you through the numbers. Just let these numbers wash over you. Yennier Cano, who is 29 years old, by the way. This is no like 20-year-old coming up from the mine. 29 years old, has thrown a total of 38 2/3 major league innings in his career. He's thrown under 40 innings in his major league career. Last year, he was pitiful. This year, here's what we got. 20 2/3 innings, 4 hits allowed, and no walks allowed. 23 strikeouts in 20 2/3 innings. 0 earned runs and 3 saves. His whip is 0.19. Yennier Cano. 0.19. Oh, and he doesn't throw like 102 miles an hour either. I mean, this guy is sinker and changeup. Like those two pitches, sinker, change. I think the sinker is like about 96 miles an hour. Sinker is usually in the low 90s, right at 90 or so. And speaking of that sinker, the ground ball rate, the average launch angle off of Yennier Cano, and remember, we go to like, you go 90, 0 to 90. His is -10, which means the average ball in play is going straight into the ground. I think his ground ball rate's like 75, 80%. This is insane. No walks this season, 20 2/3 innings. No runs in 20 2/3 innings. Last season, he gave up 23 runs in 18 innings last year with the Twins and the Orioles. He walked 16 guys in 18 innings last year. Again, this year he has 0 in 20 2/3. It's a fabulous story because he didn't even make the opening day team with the Orioles. Didn't even make the opening day team. And right now, as they said, courtesy of Masson there, best reliever in baseball. Last night, he threw 8 pitches to get 3 outs. So you may get to see him again today. Orioles are taking on the Angels. 6:35 is that first pitch. Let's move to item number 4. We go from Baltimore to Miami. Jazz Chisholm. Bad news for Jazz Chisholm. They have decided to place the Marlins center fielder on the IL, and he's going to miss a lot of time. Now, he actually got injured over the weekend. This injury did not happen yesterday, but he was placed on the IL 4 to 6 weeks. He is going to miss time. Here's the injury that knocked Chisholm out from earlier this weekend.
Back, still going back, reaching up, can't get to it, slams into the wall, a run scores. Ramos will stop at second, and the Reds take the lead. And Jazz is in a lot of pain out there in center field.
That he was full speed trying to catch up this ball hit by Ramos. It was hit really well.
Now the attention's down there by the foot or the ankle.
Yeah, somewhere ankle, knee area, that right leg. You can tell that he's in some pain by his reaction.
Bally Sports Miami there providing the footage. Again, that was over the weekend. If you're wondering what was the injury, did he break his ankle? Did he break his foot? No. Turf toe. That's the injury for Jazz Chisholm. In a lot of pain there, but turf toe. I don't know, did anybody else look at that wall and kind of scratch your head? Like, seriously, that wall in Miami? I get it, you're protecting the video screen out there, but it's like a chain link fence? Did you notice that? Weird, just weird. So it's turf toe is the injury for Jazz Chisholm. Now, you might remember going back to spring training in the offseason, Chisholm was making the positional change, moving from the middle infield to center field. He's been okay with that positional change, and I'm not going to blame a lack of experience for that injury. It's kind of just dumb luck. Defensively, he's been okay. He's only got 1 error, but he is a negative defender when it comes to defensive run saves. So at best, he's been an average center fielder. Hitting-wise, Chisholm's had a rough go of it. His season has not been good. Now, if you're a fantasy player, you've still gotten 7 home runs and, 12, 14 stolen bases. So you're fine there, but he's hitting under 230. His slugging percentage right now is 403. His on-base percentage is 290. Those are bad numbers. And Chisholm is now kind of entering this range, frankly, of injury-prone. He's played all the games this year, but now he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. So he's going to miss a lot of games. What's he going to miss? 40, 45 games at least with this injury. Last year, he only played 60. And the year before that, he only played 124. And in his rookie year, which was 2020, the COVID year, he was called up in September. He played all of September. But right now, we've got 3 seasons where Jazz Chisholm is missing 40 games, 100 games, and now we're looking another 40, 50, 60 games. Who knows how many he misses? But for a guy that kind of is being featured as the future of the Marlins, kind of that centerpiece, missed a lot of time, and he's going to miss, again, 4 to 6 weeks with that turf toe injury. By the way, the Marlins, just to give them a shout-out, they're a 500 team, 21-21, but they are currently in second place in the National League East. They are 5 games back of the Atlanta Braves. The Marlins, despite the good run they've had here to begin the season, are still plus 2,500 to win the NL East. Now, I'm not going to disagree with that, but think about it. They're in second place a month and a half into the season, plus 2,500. No one is counting on the Marlins. If you want to take them to make the playoffs, your current odds are plus 220. Not too bad, but they're going to have to do it without Jazz Chisholm. Let's move to our 5th sports item that matters. Going to hit you with some soccer. Oh, yeah, going to hit you with some soccer. Let me introduce you to a man by the name of Folarin Balogun. Folarin Balogun. What? Folarin Balogun? He announced yesterday that he is joining the United States men's national team. Why is this important? Well, frankly, he immediately becomes the best player on the U.S. men's soccer team. Well, does he play in the U.S.? Where's he from? Here's his story, and this is it's pretty fat. This is a typical soccer story, actually. Born in Brooklyn, at the age of 2, Balogun, who has Nigerian parents, at the age of 2, he moves to England. At the age of 8, he is signed by Arsenal, 8 years old. Can you imagine scouting 8-year-old players? But Arsenal signed him at the age of 8. He is currently playing in the French league. He's on loan from Arsenal. And he's a guy who plays up front, scores goals. I think he has 19 goals in 32 appearances. But this is big news for the U.S. Real big news. In fact, Balogun got his own hype video courtesy of the U.S. men's national team yesterday.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Homie going on. I can't take a loss. Competition soft, so I'm no remorse. Dominate, 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 dominate. I'm trying to find a way. Road to the championship, we going all the way.
I understand all you non-soccer fans are going, really? A hype video? Yes, a hype video for this guy. It's exciting. Remember, the World Cup's coming to North America. Canada, U.S., Mexico, 2026. Now, Balogun is set to make his first ever senior international appearance for the U.S. on June 15th. So about a month away in Vegas, the U.S. will be taking on Mexico is the battle. Balogun was asked about the fact that not only do you have that matchup in Vegas against Mexico, but also you got the 2026 World Cup coming your way.
It's almost too good to be true, you know, to obviously have the World Cup in America is just crazy. And then to be, of course, the host nations, and then my first World Cup, it just all came together really nicely. So I just think some things are meant to be, and definitely this just feels like it's meant to be.
So there you go. It's meant to be. He will be a part of the U.S. men's national team. Thought we might hype it up just a bit. Just a bit. Now, I'm not done with the soccer. Oh, no. We got more soccer coming your way here on the 5-Pack. We will get to that in our 5 things that will matter on this Wednesday. But first, we take a time out. Back with more of the 5-Pack after this on the Better Sports Network.
Not going to overreact one way or the other based on what we saw Game 1 Western Conference Finals last night between the two teams, Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers. Denver leads the series 1-0 beat Los Angeles 132-126 last night. Listen, LA will respond in this series, and both teams have been tremendous at home. So all Denver did last night was hold serve. I don't think all of a sudden there's tremendous momentum for the Los Angeles Lakers based on the way that they played toward the tail end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter. I think Denver learned a lesson as well. We'll see how it plays. It's hard to doubt a team led by LeBron James, and the Los Angeles Lakers have been a wonderful story. However, the Denver Nuggets have been the best team in the Western Conference. We'll see how this series plays out. I will, though, on this Wednesday tell you this. Undoubtedly, the best player in the NBA is the Joker. Nikola Jokic last night was brilliant. And sometimes we throw the word brilliant around too easily. He was that. 34, 21, and 14 assists last night for the Denver Nuggets. He is the best basketball player in the NBA. He's the best basketball player in the world. He almost won 3 straight MVPs. I'm not telling you should take the award away from Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers, who led the NBA in scoring this past year. No, he was a well-deserved regular season MVP. And not every single year does the best player in the world win the regular season MVP. We saw Michael. Did he win it every single year? We've seen it with LeBron. Has he won it every single year? No. The answer to all that is no. Now with Nikola Jokic, what he did last night is he sent a statement not only to the rest of the NBA, to all basketball fans throughout the country. If you've not watched him play consistently, what you got last night was a sprinkle, a taste of the brilliance of Nikola Jokic, who's the best basketball player in the NBA. Check out the comments below for a special offer for our friends at Fantasy Alarm.
Welcome back to the 5-Pack. Next up, the 5 things that will matter. Here's Kyle Elfrink.
Want to remind you that as we get rolling here with the 5 things that will matter, head over to fantasyalarm.com/betmgm. Again, fantasyalarm.com/betmgm. What you do there is you sign up with BetMGM, and check this out. If you lose your first bet, which it's kind of easy to blow your first bet. You make just some lousy bet. If you lose your first bet, which I realize is not the goal of betting, but if you lose that first bet, BetMGM will give you $1,000 payback in bonus bets if you don't win. How about that? So check it out. fantasyalarm.com/betmgm is where you can head for that special. Kyle Elfrink back with you here on the 5-Pack. We have given you the 5 things that matter at this very moment. Let's give you 5 things that will matter as we proceed through our Wednesday. We will start on the hardwood. We just heard Mark there talking about last night's Game 1 between the Nuggets and the Lakers. Tonight, we get the Eastern Conference Finals Game 1. The Miami Heat are on the road taking on the Boston Celtics, 8:30 tonight. You can catch it over on TNT. Celtics listed as an 8-point favorite right now for that first game at the Garden. Of course, we got a couple of big shooting superstars facing off. We got Jason Tatum up against Jimmy Butler. Let's hear from Tatum, who is coming off that epic, 51 points the other day in that Game 7 win against Philadelphia.
I play my best when, I'm having fun, right? This, at the end of the day, this is basketball. This is something I've been doing since I was a kid, something I love to do. And just go out there and relax and have fun. And, when you go out there and relax and, kind of think about those days when you were a kid at the YMCA or whatever, the game kind of opens up. Just try not to think about, right, the pressure, what everybody's going to say, just focus on the game. And having fun. I think that's when I'm essentially at my best.
Jason Tatum in the playoffs averaging over 28 points a game, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. So he's playing some good basketball. On the other side, Jimmy Butler, he's been good too, really good. And the Miami Heat are not supposed to be here. Remember, they had to win a play-in game to get here. They then had to upset the Bucks. They then had to beat the Knicks. Now they got to upset the Boston Celtics. And I don't know if this rises to the level of Joe Willie Namath, predicting a Super Bowl III victory way back in the day. But Jimmy Butler, he says he's expecting a series win against the C's.
If I did say it, I probably meant it. Just like I mean every year when I say we're going to win a championship, I mean it. This year is our year. We're going to go into this game one and do what we're supposed to do and be the first one to 4. Like I said, we're very capable of it. We have enough. Guys are playing some incredible basketball. I like our chances, as does everybody in this organization.
Vegas does not like the Heat's chances, though. Series odds plus 400 for the Heat to knock off the Celtics. Boston, by the way, is listed at minus 525. So they are a very heavy favorite in this series, which is interesting to me with how well Miami has been playing and how they kind of made a fool of everybody with these odds and expectations. On the other hand, remember Boston, like literally 5 days ago, everybody thought Boston was cooked. They were finished. So I don't know. Plus 400, I'd take a shot on that. Don't think Boston is insurmountable by any stretch. Again, game 1 tonight, 8:30. You can catch it on TNT. If you are looking for prop bets for this game, and maybe you're interested in the Tatum v. Butler matchup, the points over under for Tatum, 29.5. Butler is 27.5. Rebounds tonight, Tatum is 9.5. Butler is 6.5. Assists tonight, Tatum is listed at 4.5, and Butler is at 5.5. So those are some of the odds that you can get over at DraftKings if you want to check that out. Let's move to our second piece of sports news that will matter. And this one is something that may entertain you today. First off, Champions League. Someone say soccer? Did I say soccer last segment? Now I've got soccer this segment. What the hell is going on here? Well, it's just one of those days. I want to talk soccer. And I want to talk soccer because yesterday we had Inter Milan advance to the Champions League final. They got a 1-0 victory over AC Milan. They were very happy in Milan. Well, maybe half the city was happy in Milan as Inter knocks off AC Milan. So we know one of the finalists in the Champions League, which is going to take place on June 10th in Istanbul. Inter Milan's there. Today, we get to find out the other finalists. The matchup we've got today coming up at 3 o'clock. You see it there on the left-hand side. Real Madrid taking on Manchester City. Now, you might recall just last week, these two teams met in Madrid, and they played to a 1-1 draw. So this is the second of the two games. Man City's a really heavy favorite. They're the home team tonight, and looking at the current odds, what are they? Minus 180 to win, Manchester City is. Real Madrid is listed at plus 450. And if we have a draw like we did last week was 1-1, betting on the draw is plus 370. Now, in this game, if they let's say it's a draw today, it's a 2-2 after 90 minutes, the aggregate will then be 3-3. They will go to an extra session. Eventually, they may go to penalty kicks. That is very rare in international soccer, but this is a knockout stage game. So one of these teams has got to win today, and they will advance to take on Inter Milan. Matchup today, Man City taking on Real Madrid, probably the two biggest club teams and best club teams facing off in the semis. That will take place at 3 o'clock today, and it will be on CBS network television for this game today. And I've said it a few times, I'll say it again. If you haven't watched Erling Haaland, watch him today. He was shut out in the first game against Madrid. Today, he is minus 165 for a goal. It's like unheard of, especially at this level. Minus 165 to score in this matchup against Real. Pretty impressive. But Erling Haaland, the best goal scorer that we have going in the world right now, he will be on CBS television later today at 3 o'clock. And one of those two teams advancing to take on Inter coming up on June 10th. Let's move to our third item that will matter. If you're not into soccer at 3 o'clock, maybe I can interest you in some baseball at 3 o'clock today. Coming up in LA later today, we will have Dustin May pitching for the Dodgers, and he will be up against Sonny Gray. Yes, it's Gray versus May in LA. That rhymes, right? I think it does. Has anybody been paying attention to Sonny Gray? I don't know. Let me pay a little attention to Sonny Gray. 4-0 on the season. His ERA is 1.39. That is the best mark in baseball, 1.39. The whip is 1.08. He is striking out over 11 hitters per 9 innings, which is, I don't want to say it's unheard of with Sonny Gray, but for his career, he's under 9 per inning. He's had a couple of years like 10, but right now 11.1 for the Minnesota Twins. Now, he's pitching really well. He is still not getting a whole lot of support on the betting side. Right now, if you look at the AL Cy Young, he is the 9th pick on the board. So he's behind the Coles and the McClanahans, the Otanis, all. 9th pick on the board. Sonny Gray is listed right here, right now, at plus 2,000 to win the AL Cy Young. Minnesota's playing good baseball. You usually have to be on a winning team. You got to get into the playoffs. Right now, Minnesota is 24-19. They're 3.5 games up in the AL Central. So, I don't know. 9th on the board. I wouldn't suspect Sonny Gray can sustain this all season. Like, Sonny Gray literally, because there's no hype with Minnesota. There's no hype with Sonny Gray. He would have to, like, go 18-5, like, have really overwhelming numbers. And probably one of those other 3 guys, Cole, McClanahan, or Ohtani, they'd have to get hurt, frankly. I mean, a lot of things would have to go right for Sonny Gray. So I understand the plus 2,000, but still, with the way he's pitching, 9th on the board right now to win that AL Cy Young. First pitch today in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium is 3:10. And again, you can fascinate your friends with the great rhyme. I'm going to watch Gray and May in LA. You can do that later today at 3:10. Let's go to item number 4. We go from one coast, the West Coast, and we head to the East Coast. Tonight, the New York Mets. Oh, the New York Mets. Everybody's picking on the Mets, right? Well, the New York Mets could have a new name in the lineup tonight. It has been announced that they will be calling up minor league hitter. Let's just call him a hitter because he's not really a fielder. He's a pretty bad fielder. But Mark Vientos has been called up by the New York Mets. He is a youngster just smashing at AAA. Vientos has 13 home runs this year in 38 games. His slugging percentage at AAA Norfolk is almost 700. 700 for this kid. Now, he is a grip and rip hitter. They don't really have a position for him. More than likely, when he plays, it will be as a DH. Problem with the Mets, well, they got a lot of problems, but here's one of them. You bring up this kid. Do you play him ahead of Tommy Pham? Do you play him ahead of Dan Vogelbach? You're not probably going to play him at third base. You're not going to play him at first base ahead of Pete Alonso. So it's exciting. You get a call up. This team really needs offense. Last night, they hit a home run, the Mets did. It was their first round tripper in 56 innings. That's, what are we talking about? 6+ games of baseball? That's crazy for the Mets with Pete Alonso, with Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, Brett Beatty, all these guys. They went 56 innings without a home run. Their offense, it doesn't really matter what number you look at right now with the Mets. Their offense is in the bottom half of the National League everywhere. Average, on base percentage, slugging, homers, doubles, runs scored. Way, way down the list with the New York Mets. So they need some kind of jolt. It ain't working right now for the Mets. They currently, coming into today, taking on Tampa tonight, 20-23 is the record. They are 6.5 games out and back of the Atlanta Braves. We were talking about odds with Sonny Gray. The Mets to win the NL East. Remember, they were some people's pick to win the NL East. Right now, you can get them to win the East plus 700. Not too shabby. I mean, we still have 4.5 months of baseball left. The Mets have not hit like their standards indicate they should. They've had injuries. I mean, Verlander, who's I think started last night, didn't do that well. He's only made 3 starts. Scherzer has missed some time. We've got 2 Carrasco's injured. I mean, their entire roster has been riddled with injuries and ineffectiveness. So I get it. You know, they're not playing good baseball. But you still got a lot of talent on this team. And it's a team that will make moves. They will trade guys. They will bring up guys like Vientos coming up today. Plus 700? Not too bad. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup, by the way, today. The Rays will have one of their patented bullpen games, it looks like. So I don't know if we'll get to see Vientos out there. Like I said, Pham, Vogelbach, those guys have kind of been handling the DH duties. But someday soon, Mark Vientos will be in that Mets lineup, and we'll see if he can carry over some of that success from AAA and bring it to the major leagues. Let's get to item number 5 of what will matter. Arizona. What's going on in Arizona, Kyle? The Suns are done. The Diamondbacks are playing. Who the heck are they playing? The A's? Nobody cares about that. So, Kyle, why are you talking about Arizona? Well, today probably begins serious discussions in Arizona about the Arizona Coyotes leaving the desert. Leaving out of there. Let me take you through the story and why today is important. For the past year, Arizona's been trying to get a new arena built in Tempe, Arizona. Let me show you the photo of the current look of the spot where Arizona wants to build a new arena. You're going to look at this photo and say, okay, man, that's a trash dump, by the way. That's a literal trash dump in Tempe, Arizona. That's where Arizona. Now, here's what they want. Keep an image here in your head. Take a good look at that. Remember it. Here's what the Coyotes wanted to build in Tempe, Arizona. Here's the image of what they want to build to replace a dump. Flash that up, Heather, if you can. Let's see this photo. Oh, we had it for a second. Let's see if we can get that photo. That's what Arizona wanted to replace the Tempe trash dump with. You can see the Tempe Entertainment District. Unfortunately, they put this up for a vote yesterday, and here's how the vote turned out. There were 3 propositions to kind of create this entertainment district, to create a new home for the Arizona Coyotes, and here's what happened with those 3 propositions. Can we see the ballot there? Let's see it. Okay, I'll spoil it for you. No. There we go. Proposition 301, Proposition 302, and 303, all going down in defeat. There will be no arena for the Arizona Coyotes. Well, let me dig into this. The proposition was to like approve things and give tax breaks and all that. This whole project was going to run like $2.1 billion. Now, we've talked before on this and all that stuff. You know, they're getting all this crazy money from Tennessee and from the city. And I was laughing at all the money that the city is spending. This building complex in Tempe was going to be privately funded. $2.1 billion privately funded. So what's the catch? Well, there's about $500 million in tax breaks. A little bit of a catch. But some would say, well, we aren't getting the money now. Don't we want some kind of money from this trash dump? So anyway, this sucker goes down in defeat. Why is today important? Because now they got to start talking seriously about moving the Coyotes. I mean, if you can't get this sucker to pass where you're not asking for $1, then it ain't happening in Phoenix. I'm sorry. They're just not interested in hockey enough. You know, or at least the people in Tempe aren't. And they've really exhausted all possibilities there in the desert. It's kind of like an Oakland A's thing. You know, Oakland's getting ready to move to Vegas. Now, where would Arizona go? The 2 leaders would be Atlanta, which makes no sense to me. Atlanta has failed, like 3 times with an NHL team? At least 2. I mean, it's a failed market. Don't go there. Houston is probably the most logical spot. It's a huge market. It's never had hockey. There's actually an owner in Houston who wants to bring hockey in. So Houston Coyotes, Western Conference, makes a lot of sense. Other possibilities, Salt Lake City has been mentioned. Quebec has been mentioned. I don't think Quebec is. I love Quebec. If you've never been to Quebec, go there. I don't think it's got enough people or excitement to bring an NHL team. So I think it's Houston. But yesterday, the vote was no across the board, and now the Coyotes got to start looking for a new home. Writing's on the wall now, I think, for Arizona. You got to find a new place to go if you're going to remain. Remember, they were playing in the Mullet Arena this year, which seats like 2,500 people. It's actually a campus arena at Arizona State. So we may get Arizona this year in Phoenix or the Phoenix metro area. But 2 years from now, you're probably talking about a team that has moved. So the shakeup has begun for the Arizona Coyotes. Those are 5 things that will matter on this Wednesday. When we come back, who's down for taking a look back? A look back at minor league baseball in 1991. We have never opened a minor league pack with our pack rip, but we'll do it next right here on the Better Sports Network.
All right, over the weekend, we learned of another incident involving NBA megastar John Morant, where he was seen on Instagram Live briefly flashing a pistol. Now, this is once again a terrible look for John Morant, as he just getting past an incident like this not too long ago. But obviously what this does is it becomes a major story, and people getting to talk about it, and they start to bring down the character of a 23-year-old individual who has made some mistakes. Now, with that being said, of all the, the soap boxes and that he's going to throw it away and he's going to do this and that, all those people that had those things to say, what I find the most interesting is some people out there are actually saying if you was to redo the 2019 NBA draft, that New York Knicks R.J. Barrett, who was the 3rd pick of that draft, would now go number 1. Have you people lost your damn mind? If you was to redo the 2019 NBA draft right now, the top pick, in my opinion, would be Zion Williamson. Yeah, he doesn't play, but the talent is still immense. And you know what he does at the box office. The 2nd pick, John Morant. Yes, he's had some off-court troubles, but guess what? On the court, he's been nothing but exceptional. And as far as the 3rd pick, R.J. Barrett, in a New York Knicks elimination game over the weekend, he shot 1 for 10. So, yeah, have your hot takes, but some of them you need to keep in the draft, literally. All right, interested in your comments? You know what? Drop them down there in this box below. While you're down there, look for a special offer from our friends at Fantasy Alarm.
Time now for the Daily Pack Rip on the 5-Pack with Kyle Elfrink.
Okay, let's have a little fun, shall we, with minor league baseball circa 1991. Now, I know nothing about this line drive AAA baseball cards. Here's what I can tell you. A lot of this I'm stealing off the back of the pack. 650 cards. There were, at the time, 26 minor league teams. All of them are represented. This is almost like what you get from Topps, Donruss, Upper Deck back in the day, except for the minor leagues. I always love the wrapper. Send your money. Let me just read you this one. For a free line drive pre-rookie baseball card checklist, send your name, address, zip code, and birthday to pre-rookie baseball card checklist, Churchill, Maryland, or whatever. Unfortunately, it's already expired. You can see December 31st of 1991. So we're a little late. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to mail in, give my birth date to Line Drive Baseball to get a free checklist. Seriously? Free checklist? Now, who's in this set? I did some investigation. I'm in the media, after all. I did a lot of work on this. Mike Mussina is somewhere in these packs. Kenny Lofton, Bernie Williams. Can I interest you in Eric Karros? Also, Phil Niekro's in this set, but he's a coach. Not Phil Niekro, the player. It's Phil Niekro. It's Coach Phil Niekro. Same guy, but just as a coach. So that's what we're dealing with. The other interesting factoid, couple of other things I learned about line drive baseball. Number one, if you ordered the set, you wanted a factory set of line drive baseball, which you probably regretted it as soon as you got it, because the factory set of these 1991 cards came in a sealed wooden case. It was like you were ordering bourbon. A sealed wooden case. And then if you proceeded to unseal the wooden case, let me say it again. It was a wooden case full of minor league baseball cards. If you opened it up, you would then be greeted by 26 factory sealed packs. And that represented each of the 26 teams. So you would then have to open up each and every team to actually look at the cards. That's adding a lot of steps just to look at some baseball cards. A, we're going to send it in a wooden box. B, we're going to seal it. And then C, everybody's set is going to be wrapped in cellophane. You're going to have to open them. Thank God we're not doing that. We're not doing a factory rip here on the show. Nothing but a pack rip today. So let's get into it. Okay, I don't even know what these cards are going to look like. Tell you this, the backs look very boring. We'll get to those in a bit. Okay. Our first man ever in our AAA line drive baseball set. Yeah, this guy looks like a minor leaguer. And again, I don't know. Many of these guys I will not know. I will not be able to add anything. But our first player comes from the Denver Zephyrs. Remember, 1991 is before Denver got the Rockies. So this was like the precursor, if you will, to the Colorado Rockies. The Denver Zephyrs, Darren Holmes, pitcher. Looks like a cold day in Denver, right? He's all bundled up. Look, he's a pitcher wearing a batting glove with his mitt. Now that takes me back to the 90s. Nowadays, nobody. I'm trying to think. And maybe I'll have to watch baseball tonight. And I'm going to look for this. How many ball players wear a batting glove with their mitt? Now, growing up, I did. I was one of those who had the batting glove with the mitt. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it. But Darren Holmes was one of those guys too. But nowadays, nobody seems to do this anymore, do they? I'm trying to think. How many guys wear gloves with their glove like Darren Holmes? Darren Holmes. You always remember him as our first line drive baseball card. Up next is George Samis. I'm just going to guess that. TSAMIS. The Portland Beavers. Now that looks like a sidearm and lefty, doesn't it? Man, this is kind of a fun set because you get to check out the emblems. You know, some of these teams, a lot of these teams don't exist anymore. There's the Zephyrs. What is that? I guess that's a Portland Beaver. Kind of a weird looking beaver. Up next, we have the Rochester Red Wings. Now, Todd Froworth, I feel like he did make the big leagues. Here he is at AAA. It looks like a cold day in Rochester, huh? Let's see. The Red Wings. There they are. The Rochester Red Wings. Todd Fro. I mean, what? Seriously, are you trying to throw a baseball that way, Todd? Come on. Another Denver Zephyr. This is Matthias Carrillo. Matthias Carrillo. Who a lot of people didn't know this. Back in the day, the Denver Zephyrs, they were big on POW MIA. Look at that. Their side patch is for like Vietnam prisoners of war and missing in action. You don't see that every day, do you? Man, those are some ugly uniforms. I wonder why the Rockies didn't make a play off the green and blue of the Zephyrs. They just went purple and silver. Matthias Carrillo. Ooh, this is rough. Outfielder for the Toledo Mud Hens, Sean Hare. Now, if Sean Hare stepped in against me, I would not be scared of Sean Hare. I'd be thinking, okay, this is an easy 1-2-3 strikeout, right? The Toledo Mud Hens. They're still around. There's the old Mud Hen emblem. Now, here's a player who made the major leagues. All of you may know this guy. David Segui. David Segui, I kind of remember him with Baltimore. I think, and let's see, he was with Rochester. I think maybe Rochester was the AAA affiliate of Baltimore. Yes, they were. By the way, here's the back of the cards. Don't feel like I'm hiding something for you. These are very boring. Now, they give you the things you need to know. You know, you got the stats, how they were acquired, height, weight, batting, throwing, all that stuff. David Segui. There he is. So this card probably worth a cent. The other one's worth half a cent. Here's a guy who made the major leagues as well. And for a moment, no, I'm thinking of Kevin. This is Jason Moss. This has got to be Kevin's brother. Kevin Moss had a quick moment in the sun with the Yankees. This is Jason Moss, unless this is some kind of screw up. I don't know. I didn't know. Like Kevin Moss was almost looked exactly the same, so they got to be brothers if nothing else. But there he is. Kevin Moss is more of a first baseman. According to the card, Jason is an outfielder. We may have to look that up if Jason is indeed Kevin's brother. Wow. Coaches. Coaches got cards. I was wondering, why are there two men on the same card? Like, did they not have enough cards to make or something? Mike Young and Dick Bosman, coaches for the Rochester Red Wings. Look at those guys. I work at first base and I work at third base. Wow. This is crazy. Chuck Jackson of the Calgary Cannons. I didn't even know Calgary had a AAA team. Were they affiliated with Seattle? The Calgary Cannons. I think they're AAA affiliates Tacoma now? Is that right? Maybe that's a AA affiliate. There it is. Chuck Jackson of the Calgary Cannons. There's the Cannons emblem for those wondering. That would be a good t-shirt to get, you know? Back in the day, everybody's wanting to wear old things nowadays. That's a good one. Columbus Clipper, Wade Taylor. There he is. Oh, here's another major leaguer of the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons. That's a mouthful. And so is his name. Mickey Morandini. Remember Mickey Morandini? He was your typical gritty, gutty, small, white infielder. That was Mickey Morandini. Man, hey, Mickey, can you tuck your shirt in anymore? My God, that's a deep tuck. Finally, we will close things down with another Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Baron, Amalio Carreño. Amalio Carreño, there he is. I don't know if he's truly looking in for a pitch. I think he's just posing for the camera. Look at the Scranton Wilkes-Barre, Will Bear, I should say, hat. Can you see that? SWB. So there you go. What did we get? 12 cards here. And we actually got guys I've heard of. How about that? Amazing that 32 years later, you can open up a pack of minor league baseball cards and find guys that actually made it. We got Mickey Morandini, the great Mickey Morandini, and we got David Segui. So we got two major leaguers here in our minor. We got to get more of these. I got to hunt these down online. They're about 50 cents a pack. I need to get more of these. That was kind of fun. That was more fun than I would have guessed. Now, there were 26 teams back in the minor leagues in this day. I want to see how many teams I got repped. Let's see. I'm trying to count these. Apologies as I make it through all these. Columbus Clippers. So 26 teams. We have, let's see, 7 teams represented. We have the Calgary Cannons. We have the Portland Beavers. We have the Toledo Mud Hens. That's a fun one to say. The Denver Zyphers. The Rochester Red Wings. The Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons. God, if they had offered me a job back in 1991 to be their announcer, I would have said, hell no. There is no way that I'm going to spend a night trying to go through that verbal jungle. No way. And then finally, Columbus, the Columbus Clippers. So there you go. Columbus, AAA affiliate back in the day for the Yankees. Yep, certainly so. So there you go. That is our pack break today. More fun than I would have guessed with these cards. A lot more fun than I would have guessed. That will do it for today. We will be back tomorrow, 12 Eastern, with more of the 5-pack right here on the Better Sports Network.